morning, guys, and welcome. I am not feeling my best self at the moment. I don't think that it's anything to be alarmed about, but I thought I would take this as a learning opportunity to share with you the joys of how to take a home rapid malaria test, just in case you should ever need to do so. This is something I've done in the past, and I had to search quite a bit on YouTube to find somebody who could explain it to me in a friendly manner. So I thought I would share my knowledge with you. It's quite unlikely that I've got malaria. I've only been back for about, well, just under a month, to be honest. And usually malaria, the type of malaria that we've got here, falciparum, takes at least 2 weeks to kind of show itself. So the likelihood of me having it is incredibly low. And I'm not displaying any other symptoms other than feeling achy and a little bit so I have talked quite extensively about living in a malaria zone before. I'll leave that video below if you're interested. And I go through the symptoms, and symptoms affect different people in different ways. For me, one of the symptoms I usually get before I actually get malaria is I get a fluctuation in my appetite. Is 1 minute I'm starving hungry, but when I try to eat, I feel too full and I don't want to eat anything. So it's a bit of a weird one. Not many people seem to get that. I have taken my temperature and it's normal. It's very normal. I don't have a fever. Also at the moment, because there's Marburg testing. So as with COVID, when you go into a restaurant, you have to wash your hands or rub them with alcohol rub, and you get your temperature taken with a little temperature gun, usually on your forehead or your arm. And almost universally, my temperature runs just a little bit low. I'm usually around the 36 mark and 36 centigrade. And I've just taken my temperature a couple of times this afternoon. It's a little bit higher. It's just below 37, which is a perfectly normal range of temperature for people. So that's not a problem. But unfortunately, the last time that I had malaria, it did present without fever. And that's rare, but it can happen. And so it went undiagnosed and untreated for quite a while, and I got quite sick. So I'm always a little bit cautious. Now, usually the early stages of malaria, you get an ache that comes and goes in waves. And eventually that gives way to chills, and that gives way to a high temperature and fever. And then you're cycling through those stages of fever, aches, chills, fever, aches, chills, with a little respite in the middle where, you know, the virus takes a little bit of time off to have a cup of tea and a biscuit, and you get a few hours of normality before it kicks off again. Right, so home malaria rapid test kit. I have got a box of 25 rapid tests here because that was the only way I could buy them from the pharmacy. They did not sell just singular tests anymore. I had to buy a box of 25, which seems a little bit excessive, but I maybe need to take this once a year, if that. So it's a bit more than I actually need. But I'm going to talk you through it. I'm going to show you how I take the rapid test. There will be a small amount of blood because I need to prick the end of my finger to take a little blood sample. I will warn you before that happens, and I'll leave a skip time below if you just want to skip over that if you feel a bit squeamish about blood. But, you know, it's given voluntarily and it's a tiny amount. So the rapid test is designed specifically for falciparum. There are different types of malaria in the world. Again, that's in my other video. The one we have here is falciparum. It's the nastier end of the spectrum. And these have got roughly a 85 to 95% accuracy rate. Now, from what I was reading, I think the World Health Organization, or WHO, require tests to have an above 95% accuracy to be considered reliable and accurate tests. The problem with rapid tests for malaria is they can have a high degree of false negatives. So they are between 85 and 95% accurate, usually for falciparum. They are definitely much less accurate for any other type of malaria because they're not really designed to detect other types of malaria. Now, one of the reasons it can be slightly inaccurate is because Malaria is a type of virus that gets into your blood and it hatches out of your blood cells. Very unpleasant disease. And when it's hatching out of your blood cells, that's when you tend to display the fever, and that is when it is most detectable. That's when you've got a lot of this virus running around rampant in your bloodstream, and the test is more likely to pick it up. Whereas, you know, in the resting periods in between, and also if you've taken medication for malaria to help to cure malaria, but it hasn't entirely worked, it can reduce the amount of the virus in your blood, and therefore it can make it quite difficult for the test to actually find enough of it to confirm that you've got a case. But anyway, we're just going to do it for the fun of it and for educational purposes. I do indeed here have a packet of coartem, and coartem is the medication that you take if you've got it. I've always got a packet of this in my house that is in date, and it's really simple actually. It's just a 3-day course of big tablets, really big tablets, and you just take these at time intervals, which you have to adhere very strictly to the time intervals, and after 3 days it's killed the virus. It's actually largely made from sweet mugwort, which is a Chinese herb that was found to actually kill the malaria virus in the blood. Okay, so in the test kit what we get is we get a tiny little razor, just tiny little pin pricker. This is a little metal piece that you just prick into the side of your finger and squeeze a bit of blood out. You then collect the blood up in this little pipette, and then inside here we've got a little test strip, very much like those COVID spit tests, you know, where you spit in one end and it goes along and it shows you with the bar lines whether or not you are positive or negative. And once you put the blood in here, you just need to put a tiny drop of buffer solution to help to make the blood flow through a little bit easier. It's really a very familiar testing setup for anybody who's done any sort of blood test at home or urine test. If you've taken a pregnancy test and you've had to wee on the end of a strip of litmus paper, then you will know what we're talking about here. It's just different types of bodily fluids for different types of tests. So let's get on with it. All right, guys, I forgot to mention that there is also an alcohol swab in here, which is very important. You need to wipe your finger before you prick it. I am now about to prick my finger. So if you want to skip over the blood work of this and go to the results, I will leave a little timestamp below, and you can just click on that and go forward. So pause now if you don't want to watch this. Okay, so I'm just going to swab my finger. Now, I have a bit of a problem, don't laugh too much, but I am a slow bleeder. Even when I used to donate blood, I was a slow bleeder. And because of that, it can be very difficult to get enough blood out of my finger to make this work. But we're going to try. I mean, it doesn't hurt horrible amounts, but it's not much fun. Okay, right. Out. There we go. No. No blood coming out of there at all. That's not going to be good, is it? 1, 2, 3, go. Ow! Come on. There's a little bit of blood. It's not a lot of blood though, is it? Just need a bit more blood. Oh my goodness me, that's pointless. Okay, let's try another finger. Let's try this finger here. Always a problem with home test kits that require blood. No, nothing coming out of that one either. Okay, give me a minute. I'm going to keep trying, and eventually, hopefully I can find some blood somewhere. I'm really hoping that YouTube isn't going to classify this as a self-harm video. Jesus. Back in a minute.
2 hours later.
Okay, I think I've just about managed to get enough blood. It's a good thing that you didn't witness that, because it took quite a bit of stabbing. But we've got a little bit of blood, and it's really important that you put it in number 1 and not in number 2, because the first time I ever did one of these, I put it in number 2, and that's the one that you put the buffer serum in. So if you put it in number 2, you've got to prick your finger and start again. So we just put a little drop of buffer in there, and that should take the blood up through the test. So very specifically, you have to wait for 20 minutes before reading the test, because it says that if you read the test after 30 minutes, so 10 minutes late, it could give you the wrong result. So it has to be read after 20 minutes. Okay, so that's a pretty clear test. Negative. So that's what I was expecting. It's just good to confirm these things, to rule them out. And yeah, I think it's just general lurgy that, you know, everybody gets from time to time, and I shall just eat well, try and get more sleep, and see how it goes over the next few days. It will probably sort itself out. If it gets worse, I shall go to the doctor. But yes, we're all trying quite hard to avoid health clinics at the moment because they are not particularly safe places to be right now. So yes, unless it's something that's absolutely urgent, it's best monitored from home, unless it becomes a severe issue. So anyway, I hope that's been helpful. That's how you do a rapid malaria test from home. Very straightforward. I hope if you're having to take one of these at home that it proves negative like mine. If not, I hope that you've got your packet of coartem ready. This stuff is a wonder drug. So see you next time.